Renault booked a massive 11.2 billion US dollar non-cash loss in the first half of 2025. Why? Why did Nissan just lose $11.2 billion? Well, a revaluation of its 35.7% stake in Nissan, as Nissan's share price has been crashing. This accounting change stems from shifting to fair value through equity, basically that fair value through equity method, aligned with IFRS rules, significantly impacting Renault's reported earnings. As a result, Renault, over the last 6 months, reported a net loss of 11.2 billion euros or $12.8 billion. The collateral damage from Nissan's, their sudden collapse, haven't gone bankrupt yet, but it's clearly not far away, has affected other car companies as well. Shockingly, Renault has just been hit with a $1 billion hole in its balance sheet, reports German media. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Guys, I'll be at the light commercial show here in Sydney on Thursday and Friday this week. I'd love to see you there. I'll put a link in the description to tickets. You can get a 50% discount on the tickets. Missing targets, incurring a $1 billion loss, and significantly reduced profitability. These are the results of the first half of the year for the Renault Group. However, the balance sheet for the first 6 months shows, put it this way. Net income fell from 1.3 billion euros to minus 11.185 billion. That's an issue. The main reason for this is the massive debt of Renault's alliance partner, Nissan, in which Renault holds a stake. Renault have been trying to offload and sell this percentage that they have of Nissan. No one wants to buy it, as you can imagine. Without this effect, net income would have shrunk significantly for Renault, but would still have been positive at 461 million, which is still razor thin. However, Renault estimated Nissan's contribution to the loss at 11.65 billion. $11.65 billion loss. I don't think anyone's reporting on this in the Western media. This is a pretty big number. Renault said, in spite of this loss around the Nissan, that our results in the first half of the year did not meet our original ambitions in a difficult market environment. Renault has initiated a series of countermeasures and has a clear overarching goal. The Renault Group's profitability is a benchmark in our industry, and we are determined to maintain this standard. However, Renault is facing the same issues that basically almost all car manufacturers worldwide are facing. That is crashing margins. And I mean crashing margins. There's no other way to put it. Renault's margin fell to 6%. And the financial results were this: operating margin, 6%, sales compared 6% of sales, and that compares to 8.1% in the same period last year. There's been much bigger falls from other companies who have gone from 16% to 6%. But still, margins continue to fall for these European car companies in particular. Group sales increased by 2.5% to 27.6 billion. Exchange rate effects, particularly in Brazil, Turkey, and Argentina, had a negative effect. But ultimately, the biggest issue here was the hit from Nissan of 11.65 billion US dollars. Nissan says it's got a game-changing battery. It will change the company. It will basically save the company. Now, you guys know what I think of Nissan. You know that I believe that Nissan will be purchased most likely by companies such as Geely. Who knows? Maybe BYD will even purchase them. Maybe not. I mean, maybe they won't need to or even want to. I mean, realistically, Nissan, they're not really a name. They're not really that desirable anymore. To be honest, when you say BYD or Nissan, what do you think? Well, what car would, in terms of brand, what would you prefer? I know what I'd prefer. That's definitely BYD. Well, Nissan's new battery, they're saying it's going to be available by 2028, but journalists, they don't actually believe them. Journalists are saying, give us some proof, show us this battery, show us what you're doing, give us a time frame, what are your plans, how are you going to do this? And Nissan, well, they don't want to provide an answer. They don't want to provide any real facts. They did kind of, in a fishy way, say what I'm about to share with you. But I don't know, guys, do you believe this stuff? I mean, does this make sense? Does this sound like Nissan's being honest? I don't think it does. I can clearly see a lot of journalists don't think it does either, but they kind of can't go out and blatantly say this because Nissan pays the bills. Legacy Auto pay the bills still. That could change. Nissan say they're committing to a launch of battery EVs that will basically save the company by reducing costs by 50%. I mean, really, is a solid state battery going to be 50% cheaper than a high energy density lithium ion phosphate version 3 Shensing battery from Cadel that'll charge in 10 minutes? I mean, I don't really think that's going to be likely, but Nissan say it will. And they say that these solid state batteries will be, well, they'll have a factory producing potentially a huge number of them. Now, that factory has not yet been built, I should point out, but this is Nissan's roadmap. They have pilot line operations. They say they have a pilot line. In fact, they say that they've had a pilot line since 2022, but the actual operations of the pilot line won't begin until this year at some point. They haven't begun yet. A test prototype car will be on the road in 2026. So for some reason, they're saying they've had a prototype battery. They've actually made this solid state battery, which they won't show to anyone. They're saying they've had this since 2022. They won't show it, like I said. They're saying that their pilot line was built in 2022, which I presumably built this battery. But the pilot line, operations won't start until this year. A test prototype car will be on the road in 2026. Now, my question is, if they have these batteries, or if these batteries will be produced this year, why wait till 2026 to actually test them in a car? I mean, if you're betting the company on a product, saying this will save the company, surely as soon as you have the battery, which is presumably since 2022, you'd want to test it straight away. Yeah, like you'd want to have this in your car straight away, right? You'd want to go, oh, phew, like it does work. Yeah, okay, great. But they're not going to do that. They're going to wait 4 years to test it in a car. Prototype car with this battery, 2026 is what they say. Now, when asked if they're programming, if they're basically, the journalists were like, yeah, we call bullshit. Basically, that's what they're saying. They said, is this aspirational or a finalized schedule? Francois Bali, Senior Vice President for Nissan, said this: it's a plan and we need to respect it and deliver it. So far, that's where we are. We have the pilot line. We have it. We'll have it in 2024. We had it in 2022. I don't know, guys. No one really knows. That's the truth.